Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Were you impressed by the Cowboys last night?
I was impressed. Let's go back to high school. When you're going through the process of preparation, Coach used to always say, success is not linear. So remember, when you're doing something, not always should you mentally map it on to your ultimate goal because it's not linear in terms of success. So I like that win. Why? A huge win over Philly. You have a bye week, and you come out, maybe you got to, fire up old Betsy a little more, slow start. But then finally, talent prevailed, and the cream rose to the top. And we saw the Dallas Cowboys once again put up 37 points against a divisional familiar foe. So that's difficult to do because of the familiarity. We saw that happen a couple weeks ago when they did it to Philadelphia, which is a better team than the lowly New York Giants. So I'm looking at this, and I'm not trying to say this is a Super Bowl confident moment. I'm not saying that it's an ultimate projection game of what the Cowboys will be. But because success is not linear and they got the ultimate goal accomplished, which is a W, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's scrappy. The Dallas Cowboys went out there, it started tough, they prevailed, and they went home with the ultimate pride.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
You said that Philly is a better team than the Giants.
I hope.
Right? So then my question is, what impressed you? Which part of this game impressed you more than maybe something they did in the Philly game? Because I think you had a great line. You said they didn't show us anything we didn't already know.
Well, for me, it's 3 straight games for Ezekiel Elliott in terms of 100-plus yards.
Already knew that.
We didn't know that because only 3 straight games. We didn't say
we already knew he was great.
Oh, we knew he was great, but we also saw moments this year where he wasn't great, and they were getting out of character in terms of leaning more Dak than Zeke.
Gotcha.
You go through Zeke, then Dak's going to have a cleaner game. He first play was an interception.
Agreed.
Outside of that, it was a good game for Dak.
Agreed. And so, to me, that's something that we already knew. We already knew that the offense flows through Zeke, right? And it has to because the stats show that when Zeke rushes for 100-plus yards, it usually results in a win, and it helps out Dak a lot. We already knew the defense was really good. And I actually was more impressed by the defense that they were able to still have the same success or more success without their star linebacker, Leighton Vander Esch, who was on the sideline. Sean Lee came in and played well. And so we're going to learn a lot this second half of the season, right? Don't show me how you started. Show me how you finished the season because it's about to get real for the Cowboys. You got Minnesota. You got to go to New England, to Chicago in December, not easy, and to Philly. And so the game is going to the division is going to come down to Philly. Like, can they get over that hump? You beat them once at home. You're supposed to do that. Can you go on the road and beat them again when it's going to matter most at the end of the season? Those are the questions that I still have. But this was a good win for the Giants. But was I impressed? No, I wasn't impressed.
Good win for Cowboys. I agree. I was impressed with the win because it was a win that they needed. It was a divisional opponent. You got to throw records out of the window. You have to throw how poor the New York Giants are out of the window because it's a rivalry game. Yeah, because it's a rivalry game. You can those are the biggest trap games when you're playing against teams that are very familiar with you. So that them winning and going into a hostile environment and winning is impressive. The thing you asked and the thing you mentioned, all right, what are we moving forward with this Cowboys team with a belief? And you mentioned Matt Moore, Can they match that performance? Can Dak match that performance? Can they go through that Green Mile? The Green Mile is not for Dak. The Green Mile is not for the personnel of this team. That Green Mile is for the coaching staff. Can the coaching staff navigate that Green Mile? Can the coaching staff put Dak Prescott and this personnel that is superior to most of the teams that they're going to play against on that Green Mile, regardless of record or rank? They are superior personnel-wise, right? Can this coaching staff survive that Green Mile? That's the biggest question going into this
former
schedule.
Player, it's easy for you to say that.
Oh, okay. As an analyst, I'm looking at it from an analyst's eye, and I'm saying to myself, personnel-wise, they're getting healthy at the right time. You have a backup in a Sean Lee. You have guys on your team that can fill in for some of these injuries, but getting that offensive line healthy is the most important deal. Personnel-wise, I think they're in good position.
I'm going to say the reason I wasn't impressed is because I was so disappointed with Daniel Jones.
Woo.
The rookie quarterback that allegedly had done some nice things looked like trash last
Go,
night.
DJ. Go away.
They sent a limo for Daniel Jones,
yes.
and he arrived in first-class service and served them up. Again, the one time he threw downfield was the absolute wrong time to throw downfield, right before halftime on third down, and he turns the ball over and hands away 3 points. The rest of the night, he was just check down Charlie.
Yeah.
And so that's what, to me, is like the Cowboys didn't face any resistance.
But that's the thing when we talk about going into a hostile environment. One, I don't see going into New York Giants Stadium as a hostile environment. Two, it's a rivalry game, but you're playing against a rookie quarterback that made a ton of mistakes in that football game. So the whole rivalry, we know each other, some of that goes out of the window when you have those kinds of mistakes and you have the kind of season that the Giants have been having up until this point.
Well, they played the Giants week one. Let's be real. Week one, this Dallas defense that you guys have not learned anything about gave up 470 yards in the win. Last night, 271. That's a new learn. Same team, new learn. Maybe different quarterback, I get it. That game also, Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys went out there and 89 yards rushing. We didn't see that last night. We learned something new about the Dallas Cowboys. What I'm saying is, the familiarity can't be understated. Like, I don't care how good you are, how bad we are. Oh, I know you. I'm not scared of you, bro. I'm not scared of you. Yes. So, and Daniel Jones went out there, and he's starting to lean the wrong way in terms of turnovers and in terms of inefficiency, because then that starts to harbor a different style of play. Daniel Jones gives this team the best chance to win. But last night, we saw the Dallas Cowboys come back to their formula of success, running the football, playing proper defense. You can say that. That's what the Dallas Cowboys are. But there have been multiple games this year they haven't shown that. And that's why I was impressed. They went out there and actually showed it.
Were you encouraged by Dak's performance last night?
Yes, Dak's fine. Look, if you ever go to bed thinking about Patrick Mahomes and then bring up Dak, you're not going to go to bed happy. Let me just tell you right. Like being real, whoever your girlfriend, wife is, if you ever go home and start thinking about the most beautiful person you ever met, and if it ain't them, you ain't going to go to bed exactly happy. And that's what happens. You can't always imagine the greatest. Dak for himself, for this franchise, for this organization, is an amazing quarterback in terms of winning and in terms of leadership. Is that always going to show in production? Not necessarily, but remember the contrast of what the Cowboys were without Dak and what they're turning into with Dak.
Well, I don't think any of us are saying that they're great without Dak, like they don't need him. Yes, they do need Dak, but there is a formula to how they win football games. If we're going to sit here, like you said, and wait for him to week in and week out carve up secondaries, well, that's not who he is.
Yeah.
And that's not the formula that the Cowboys use. And so I saw the Cowboys get back to their formula, to their DNA, which is run the football first, play good defense, right? But did Dak make some mistakes in that game that will hurt them against better teams? 100%. You turn that football over in the playoffs against the Saints, against the 49ers, because that's where the road is going to go through right now. Those are going to be points.
Next Sunday night against Minnesota, what we saw last night, not good enough.
Did we see last year when they were in the playoffs, and who played better, Dak or Zeke? Dak. Y'all, man, run it through Zeke all you want. If it works.
Did they win the game?
No, they didn't. But they lost the game because they ran it through someone who wasn't ready for that moment to do it that day. Dak was. Maybe they should have went away from that.
That's where Dak, or this passing game, or the coaching staff, whoever it is, a combination of three, have to take the next step. Have to take the next step.
I think they'll beat Minnesota. And we love using analogies with wives and girlfriends and stuff.
That's all we got. That's all we got.
But what about when the girlfriend turns and flips the tables on you? So let's turn and flip the tables with Dak here. I'm encouraged with Dak, but what if he's going to bed and he's not thinking of, who cares about you thinking about Mahomes? What if I'm looking at my coaching staff and I'm looking at my head coach like, oh, what if I had Andy Reid coaching this team with this personnel? What would we be doing now? What if I had Kyle Shanahan coaching this team with this personnel right now? I'm just wondering. Okay, so I got to go to bed having the same nightmare that you're having, thinking about Mahomes. I'm thinking about Andy Reid and Mr. Shanahan and what he's capable of doing. Dak is fine. The question is, will the play calling and will the game planning and will they be able to adapt and adjust to what these teams are going to do when they get into those games with the Patriots and with the Vikings? That's going to be the key.
Plays you didn't like last night? Did you see some things last night that they left on the table?
No,
from a play calling perspective?
It's not so much last night because, again, now you're talking about a game where the teams are familiar with one another. So when you're looking at the fact that all things given, the personnel was going to win over superior and supreme to the New York Giants. That was supposed to happen. Yeah. It would have been a bigger story if Dallas lost. Yeah. But now when you go up against opponents that are a better team, a Vikings team, a Patriots team, now it's going to be more coaching involved with that.
Button it up with this. This is how fine Dak is. 37 points, consecutive outings. Only sacked 10 times this year versus 56 times last season. And that was a wart on his game before. And Dak is top 10 in major statistical categories: passing yards, completion percentage, touchdown passes, and passer rating. Dak's fine.
So we're going to revisit this conversation in a couple weeks.
We're going to
revisit them stats, too.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.